Rainy morning in the Seattle suburbs. Small cafe warm against the misty fog. A single mother with messy hair and a work uniform counts every coin to buy the cheapest coffee. She hears the man behind her. "My card was declined?" The barista shifts uncomfortably. "Yes, sir." She hesitates, then smiles. "I'll pay for him. Consider it this morning's kindness." The man thanks her quietly and leaves. Next morning, a deafening sound fills the entire neighborhood. A helicopter lands in front of her rundown house, and the person stepping out is yesterday's stranger. Emily Carter, 32 years old, single mother working early morning shift at a bakery, small frame, brown hair always pulled back hastily, tired eyes that still somehow manage kindness. Ben Lawson, 38 years old, CEO of Lawson Aerotech, a commercial helicopter manufacturing corporation. Looks ordinary without his usual suit. Tall build, deep eyes carrying unspoken sadness. Ella, 7 years old, Emily's daughter, innocent, always asking, "Mama, do we have enough money to buy bread for both of us today?" Emily used to be an accountant, good at numbers, good at organization. But when her husband died in a car accident 3 years ago, she quit her career to care for Ella full-time. The grief was too much. The childcare costs too high. The choice too clear. Now she wakes at 4 a.m. every morning. Works 2 jobs simultaneously. Morning shift at the bakery, afternoon shift cleaning hotel rooms. The money barely covers rent. Nothing left over for luxuries like decent coffee. That rainy morning, after her bakery shift ended, she stopped at the familiar cafe, her small ritual. Once a week if she could afford it. 1 cup of the cheapest coffee. 5 minutes of pretending life was normal. In line, the man ahead couldn't find his credit card, just smiled apologetically at the barista's discomfort. "I'm sorry, sir. The card you gave me was declined. Do you have another payment method?" Emily watched him check his pockets, saw the embarrassment, the confusion, the moment of being publicly broke despite his expensive watch. She didn't think, just acted. "I'll pay for him. Someone once did that for me." The man turned, studied her face with strange intensity, part gratitude, part something else, like he was memorizing this moment. "Thank you," he said quietly. "Maybe I needed this more than the coffee today." His voice carried weight, sadness, recognition of something beyond a simple transaction. Emily just smiled. "We all need kindness sometimes." He left. She ordered her usual cheap coffee, sat by the window watching rain, didn't think about the stranger again, just another moment of trying to make the world slightly better despite having nothing. Authentic detail. The cafe owner later told reporters, "Emily always leaves $1 in our for someone in need jar, even when she clearly needs it herself." That morning, the man watched her for a long time before leaving. His expression wasn't just grateful. It was like he'd recognized something important. That evening, Emily came home exhausted. Ella ran to her immediately. "Mama, did you bring bread?" "Yes, sweetheart, and a surprise, applesauce." Ella's eyes lit up like Christmas. Applesauce was a rare treat. They ate dinner at their small table. Ella chattering about school. Emily listening with genuine interest despite exhaustion threatening to pull her under. "Mama, when I grow up, will we have enough money?" The question broke Emily's heart. "We have enough now, baby. We have each other. That's the most important thing." "But you're always tired." "Tired is okay. Tired means we're surviving. We're doing great." After Ella slept, Emily sat alone in their small living room. Walls thin enough to hear neighbors. Furniture second-hand but clean. Life simple but honest. She thought about the stranger, hoped his card issue got resolved, hoped he was okay. Didn't expect to ever see him again. Tomorrow would bring another 4 a.m. alarm, another double shift, another day of survival. But she'd made someone smile today. That counted for something. She had no idea that small act of kindness was about to change everything. The foundation was set, the connection made, the miracle beginning. Ben Lawson, a man who seemingly had everything but felt completely lost. As CEO of Lawson Aerotech, he commanded a billion-dollar company, employed thousands, lived in a penthouse overlooking Puget Sound, drove cars worth more than most people's houses. But 6 months ago, his younger brother committed suicide, depression, pressure, silent suffering Ben never noticed until too late. The guilt destroyed him. Sleep became impossible. Work became meaningless. Everything felt hollow. He'd come to Seattle to sign a major contract, stayed in luxury hotel, went through motions, but inside, he was drowning. That morning, his credit card was temporarily frozen due to bank security measures. Standing in that cafe line, publicly broke despite his wealth, he'd felt the universe's cruel irony. Then Emily paid for him. No recognition of who he was, no agenda, just kindness. Pure, simple, unexpected kindness. No one has ever done something kind for me without wanting something in return, he thought. That afternoon, he asked his assistant to investigate. Find out about the woman at that cafe, the one who paid. Sir, please, I need to know who she is. The assistant returned with basic information. Emily Carter, single mother, works 2 jobs, lives in the old workers' housing district. That's all I could find without being intrusive. Ben made a decision that surprised even himself. Prepare the helicopter. We're making a personal visit tomorrow morning. His assistant looked shocked. Sir, you have board meetings. Cancel them. This is more important. Next morning, Ben's helicopter descended onto the street in front of Emily's house. The entire neighborhood erupted. People rushing out, children pointing, everyone wondering what was happening. Emily was hanging laundry on her small porch, saw the helicopter, grabbed Ella protectively, thought there was an emergency. Ben stepped out, walked directly to her, smiled gently. Do you remember me? You're the man from the cafe? Yes, I came to return that cup of coffee with some interest. He handed her an envelope. A scholarship fund for Ella and a job offer for you at Lawson Aerotech, accounting position, if you want it. Emily stood frozen. I can't accept money for a cup of coffee. It's not about the coffee. It's about you reminding me that kindness still exists in this world. Ella tugged his sleeve. Are you a prince? You have a flying machine. Ben laughed, first genuine laugh in months. Not a prince, just someone your mama helped when he really needed it. Over following weeks, Ben kept coming back, not in the helicopter, just showing up, bringing coffee, sitting on Emily's porch steps, talking. Why do you keep visiting? Emily asked one afternoon. Because when I'm here, I remember what matters. Your daughter's laughter, your neighbor's gossip, real life. I'd forgotten what that felt like. You don't have to feel obligated. I don't feel obligated. I feel grateful. You gave me something money can't buy. Hope, connection. Reminder that good people exist. Authentic witness detail. Emily's neighbor, Mrs. Rodriguez, told reporters that CEO didn't dress fancy when he visited, just sat on the porch playing dolls with Ella, asking her favorite colors. I've never seen any rich person kneel down to wipe dirt off a child's face like their own kid. Emily slowly accepted the job offer. Started working at Lawson Aerotech. Not charity, she was genuinely skilled. Her accounting background valuable. Her insight into employee needs revolutionary. She proposed policy changes, childcare support for working parents, flexible hours, understanding that employees were humans with families, not just labor units. Ben listened, implemented every suggestion. The company culture shifted. Employees noticed, appreciated, thrived. One evening, Ben stayed late at office, found Emily still working. You should go home to Ella. I'm finishing this report. It's important. Emily, I hired you because you're capable, but I also hired you because you reminded me people matter more than profits. Don't lose that balance. She looked at him, really looked, saw past the CEO, saw the grieving brother, the lonely man, the person desperate for authentic connection. Why did you really come that first morning? She asked quietly. Ben sat down, vulnerable in ways CEOs rarely allow. Because that cafe moment was the first time in months someone saw me as just a person, not my money, not my position, just someone who needed help. I forgot what that felt like. Your card being declined was a technical error, wasn't it? Yes, but my life being empty wasn't. That was completely real. Emily reached across the desk, took his hand. Simple gesture, profound impact. You're not empty. You're healing. Those are different things. Something shifted between them. Unspoken. Powerful. Connection beyond gratitude or obligation. Ella loved Ben, called him Helicopter Man, drew pictures of him for her school assignments, asked when he was visiting next. Mama, is Helicopter Man going to be my daddy? Emily choked on her coffee. Sweetheart, that's not... We're just friends. But you smile different when he's here, happy different. Children see everything adults try to hide. 3 months after that first helicopter visit, local media discovered the story. Billionaire CEO befriends single mother who bought him coffee. The attention was immediate, invasive, cruel in its assumptions. Gold digger traps billionaire with calculated kindness. CEO's midlife crisis. Dating down. What does she really want from him? The comments were vicious, the judgment harsh. The world deciding Emily must have agenda because genuine kindness couldn't possibly exist. Emily read the articles with growing horror. They think I planned this. They think I'm using you. I know you're not. But everyone else thinks I am. This is destroying both our reputations. Ben faced his first real choice. Protect his image or protect what mattered. Distance himself or move closer. Choose the easy path or the right one. Emily, I don't care what they think. You should. You're a CEO. Your reputation affects thousands of employees. My happiness affects me, and you make me happy. For the first time since my brother died, I feel alive. That's worth every nasty headline. But the pressure was just beginning. The real test of their connection was coming, and it would force both of them to choose safety or courage, image or authenticity, fear or love. The media firestorm intensified rapidly. Paparazzi camped outside Emily's house, followed her to work, photographed Ella at school, invaded every private moment. Emily was fired from the hotel cleaning job. Bad publicity, her supervisor said. Customers complaining about the attention. Neighbors who'd been friendly suddenly turned cold, suspicious, judgmental. She was always too good to be true, Mrs. Kim from next door whispered loudly. Playing poor to trap a rich man. Ella came home from school crying. The kids say you're a gold digger. What's a gold digger, Mama? Emily held her daughter, heartbreaking. It's what people call someone they don't understand, sweetheart. Ben heard about everything, arrived at Emily's house immediately. You don't owe me explanations, he said. I know the truth. But Emily was shaking. I don't want to be a headline. I don't want my daughter growing up ashamed of her mother. Maybe you should stop coming here. You think I'm here out of pity? I don't know why you're here. You're a billionaire CEO. I'm a broke single mother. This doesn't make sense. We don't make sense. Why can't kindness make sense? Why can't connection make sense? Why does everything have to be transactional? Emily was crying now. Because in my world, nothing is free. Every kindness comes with expectation. I'm terrified that I'm starting to believe I deserve this. The admission hung between them, her fear, his pain, the gap between their worlds suddenly visible. Ben left quietly, let her have space, but didn't give up. That evening, he returned to his office, opened Emily's employment file, saw her impressive accounting credentials, her certification with honors, and then something that stopped him cold, a job application, dated 3 years ago. Sent to Lawson Aerotech from Emily Carter, requesting entry-level accounting position, stamped rejected, insufficient aerospace industry experience. His assistant had thrown it away without ever showing him. Emily had tried to work at his company years ago, had been qualified, had been ignored, had been dismissed because she didn't fit their narrow criteria. She'd knocked on his door long before that cafe moment. No one had answered. Next morning, Ben arrived at Emily's house with a small box. Not expensive gifts, just a simple container. What's in here? Emily asked warily. A job contract, same offer as before. But if you don't sign it, I'll still come here every morning. Because I don't owe you kindness. You owe me hope. And I'm not walking away from that. Emily opened the box, saw the contract, saw something else. Her old job application. With a handwritten note, I'm sorry we were blind 3 years ago. We won't make that mistake again." She started crying. "You knew I applied before? I just found out, and I'm furious at my company for being so stupid. You were always qualified. We were just too arrogant to see it." "Ben, I can't what? Accept help? Accept that someone values you? Accept that you're worthy of good things? Why not?" "Because people like me don't get fairy tales." "Why not? Who made that rule? What if I told you that morning in the cafe saved my life? That I'd been planning to sell my company and disappear? That your simple kindness reminded me why anything matters?" Emily looked at him. Really looked. "What?" Ben sat on her porch steps, vulnerable in ways billionaires rarely show. "6 months ago, my brother killed himself. I missed every sign. Was too busy building empire to notice he was drowning. After his funeral, I couldn't see the point of anything. Success felt meaningless. Money felt empty. I wanted to walk away from everything. Oh, Ben. That morning in the cafe, when my card declined, I felt the universe laughing at me. All my wealth. Meaningless. Then you paid for a stranger's coffee. Treated me like a human who mattered. Not my money, not my position. Just me. That small act of kindness made me think maybe connection still exists. Maybe people still care. Maybe life still has purpose." Authentic witness detail. Ben's helicopter pilot later told press, "Every morning for months, Mr. Lawson asked me to fly him to that neighborhood. He'd bring coffee, sit with Emily and Ella. He'd tell me, 'This is the only hour of my day when I feel human. This is the only place where people see me, not my bank account.'" I watched my boss transform from a ghost to a living person because of that family. Emily processed everything, the magnitude, the responsibility, the impossible situation. "I bought you a $3 coffee. You're describing saving your life. That's not proportional. Love never is." The word hung between them. Love, not gratitude, not charity. Love. "Ben, I'm terrified." "Of what?" "Of believing this is real. Of trusting that you won't wake up one day and realize you've been slumming with poor people for entertainment. Of my daughter getting attached to someone who will eventually leave." "I'm terrified too," Ben admitted. "Of screwing this up. Of my world contaminating yours. Of failing you both the way I failed my brother. But I'd rather be terrified together than safely alone." That afternoon, Ben made a public decision. Called a press conference. Emily begged him not to. "You'll make it worse." "No, I'll make it true." He stood before cameras and reporters. Told the story honestly. About grief. About Emily's kindness. About rediscovering purpose. About falling in love with a woman who saw him as human, not asset. "Emily Carter didn't trap me. She saved me. And I'm not ashamed of that. I'm grateful. If being grateful makes me weak in your eyes, then I'm proudly weak." He held up something small, the original cafe receipt, $300 for one medium coffee, preserved in a frame. This $3 receipt is worth more than my entire fortune, because it represents kindness without agenda, connection without transaction, humanity in a world that forgot what that means. If you want to judge Emily for being kind, judge away. But know that her kindness literally saved my life, and I won't apologize for loving someone who reminded me what living actually means. The press conference went viral. Public opinion shifted. Some still doubted, but many understood, recognized, believed. Emily watched from her living room, crying, terrified, hopeful. Ella squeezed her hand. "Mama, Helicopter Man loves us, right?" "Yes, baby. I think he really does." "Then why are you sad?" "I'm not sad. I'm scared. What if I'm not enough for someone like him?" "Mama, you're enough for me. You're enough for everyone." Sometimes children speak truth adults can't hear. Ben returned that evening. Emily opened the door. They looked at each other, no words needed, just choice. Choose fear or choose courage. Choose walls or choose vulnerability. Choose safety or choose love. Emily stepped forward, hugged him, chose. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay, let's try this. Let's be terrified together." And somehow, that was enough. 6 months after Ben's public declaration, Emily officially started working as senior financial analyst at Lawson Aerotech. Not charity, not favoritism. Genuine skill meeting genuine need. She revolutionized their employee benefit programs, implemented child care support, created flexible scheduling for working parents, gave voice to people who'd been invisible to corporate leadership for decades. "You're not just crunching numbers," Ben told her during a board meeting where she'd presented new policies. "You're teaching us how to be human." The board, initially skeptical, slowly came around. Employee satisfaction increased, retention improved, productivity soared. Turns out treating people like humans was good business. But the real transformation happened in smaller moments. Ben started coming to Emily's house for dinner regularly, not fancy restaurants, not corporate events, just kitchen table meals with Ella chattering about second-grade drama. Today, Tommy pulled Sarah's hair, so she kicked him, and the teacher said they both had to sit in timeout, but Tommy started it, so Sarah said that was unfair, and Ben listened like Ella's cafeteria stories were the most important business in the world. Emily watched him patiently help Ella with math homework, saw him celebrate when she finally understood fractions, saw him becoming something he'd never planned to be, a father figure. One evening, Ella asked casually, "Ben, do you want to be my daddy?" The kitchen went silent. Emily froze mid-dish washing. Ben looked at Ella with unguarded emotion. "Would you want that?" he asked seriously. "Yeah, you make Mama smile. And you're good at helicopter rides. Daddies should be good at helicopter rides." Ben's voice cracked. "I would be honored to be your daddy if your mama agrees that's okay." Emily turned from the sink, tears streaming. "Are you sure? Really sure? This isn't temporary? You're not going to wake up one day and realize you prefer your old life?" "Emily, my old life was dying slowly in a penthouse alone. This life, dinner table homework and secondhand furniture, and your daughter's laughter. This is the first time I've felt alive since my brother died. I'm not going anywhere." They started building family traditions, weekend park visits, movie nights on Emily's small couch, helicopter rides over Puget Sound where Ella would shriek with delight. Ben introduced Emily and Ella to his parents, wealthy, traditional, initially horrified their son was dating someone inappropriate. But Ella won them over immediately. "Your house is really big. Do you get lost? We live in a small house so we can always find each other." Ben's mother actually laughed. "I like this child. She's honest," Ben replied. "Emily taught her that honesty matters more than impressing people." Over dinner, Emily impressed them differently, discussing economics, sharing insights about class disparity, speaking intelligently about issues they'd never considered from their privileged bubble. "You're quite different from what the media portrayed," Ben's father admitted. "The media rarely gets the full story," Emily replied diplomatically. Ben's mother pulled her aside later. "I've never seen my son this happy. After we lost his brother, we thought we'd lost Ben too. You brought him back. Thank you," Emily cried. "I just paid for his coffee." "You did much more than that, dear. You reminded him that kindness exists. That's priceless." 4 months later, Ben's company unveiled a new initiative. One Cup Foundation, a nonprofit providing scholarships and job training for single parents, specifically single mothers struggling to survive. Emily co-founded it, used her experience, her understanding, her authentic knowledge of what struggling families actually needed. The foundation's first project, renovating the community center in Emily's neighborhood, creating free childcare, offering job training, providing resources. At the opening ceremony, Emily spoke, "One cup of coffee didn't change the world, but it changed one heart. And that heart changed mine. And together, maybe we can create ripple effects of kindness that reach people who desperately need them." Ben stood beside her, proud, supportive, transformed from the hollow CEO he'd been into someone with purpose beyond profit. That evening, as they walked through the new community center, Ella running ahead exploring, Ben took Emily's hand. "I've been thinking about something." "What?" "About permanence, about commitment, about whether you'd consider making this official." Emily's heart raced. "Official how?" Ben pulled out a small box. Not expensive diamonds, just a simple gold band. Honest, real, Perfect. I know we come from different worlds. I know there are 1,000 logical reasons this shouldn't work. But logic didn't save my life. You did. So I'm asking, will you marry me? Will you let me be Ella's father officially? Will you build this strange, beautiful, impossible life with me permanently? Emily looked at the ring, at Ben, at Ella exploring nearby, at the community center they'd built together, at the life she'd never imagined possible. Yes, she whispered. Yes to all of it. Ella ran back immediately, somehow sensing the importance of the moment. Did you ask her? Did she say yes? Am I getting a daddy? Ben knelt down. Yes, yes, and yes. If that's okay with you. Ella threw her arms around both of them. Best day ever! Can we celebrate with helicopter ride? They flew over Seattle as sunset painted the sky, 3 people who'd found each other through the smallest act of kindness. 3 lives changed by one moment of choice. Emily looked at the city below, at the life she'd built through survival, at the love she'd found through generosity. I almost didn't pay for your coffee that morning, she admitted. Why not? Because I needed that money. It was my last $5 until payday. Ben held her tighter. You gave me everything when you had nothing. That's the definition of love, Emily. You loved me before you even knew me. And somehow that was exactly right. 1 year after their first meeting, the cafe where everything began became the site of their small wedding. Emily wore a simple dress, nothing expensive, just beautiful and honest. Ella served as flower girl, carrying white roses and giggling with joy. Ben wore a suit but looked more relaxed than any billionaire had right to be, looking at Emily like she was more valuable than every asset he owned. The cafe owner officiated. I've never seen a $3 coffee lead to so much happiness. Who knew kindness was such a good investment? Their vows were simple, honest, real. I promise to show up, Emily said, every day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because you showed me that showing up matters. I promise to remember, Ben replied, to never forget that connection matters more than success, that people matter more than profits, that you and Ella are the only achievements that actually count. Ella interrupted with 7-year-old enthusiasm. And I promise to be the best daughter ever. Can I go eat cake now? Everyone laughed. Perfect moment. After the ceremony, they launched the Hope One helicopter, Ben's newest model, named after what Emily had given him. A fleet of medical helicopters for underfunded hospitals, making emergency care accessible to people who couldn't afford it. This is your real wedding gift, Ben told Emily. A company that remembers what matters, that helps people instead of just generating profit. The helicopters lifted off, dropping white rose petals over the neighborhood, symbolizing kindness spreading, hope multiplying, love rippling outward. Emily and Ben stood in the cafe doorway, same spot where she'd paid for his coffee. Full circle moment. Do you ever regret it? Ben asked. That morning, the attention it brought, the judgment, the disruption to your quiet life? Emily thought about her life before, struggling alone, 2 jobs, exhausted, surviving but not living. Thought about her life now. Still working, but meaningful work. Ella thriving, with 2 parents who adored her. Purpose beyond survival. Not for a second. You taught me something I'd forgotten. What? That I'm worth kindness too. I spent so long giving that I forgot I'm allowed to receive. You reminded me I matter. That changed everything. Ben kissed her forehead. You changed me first. Ella appeared between them, tugging both their hands. Can we go home now? I want to show you my new drawing. What did you draw, sweetheart? Emily asked. Us, all 3, with the helicopter and the cafe and the flowers. It's called How One Coffee Changed Everything. They walked home together, not to Ben's penthouse, not to Emily's old apartment, to their new house, modest but comfortable, big enough for family, small enough to feel like home. That evening, as Ella slept peacefully, Emily and Ben sat on their porch, city lights sprawling below, life stretching ahead. One Cup Foundation served its 1,000th family today, Ben mentioned. Single mothers getting job training, kids getting scholarships, people finding hope. All because someone's credit card got declined, Emily marveled. All because someone with nothing chose to give anyway. Emily leaned against him. We're going to tell this story one day and no one will believe it. Let them doubt. We know what's real. The preserved cafe receipt hung framed in their living room. $300. The most valuable transaction of their lives. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities to choose kindness, new moments to remember what mattered. But tonight, 3 people who'd found each other through impossible odds were simply together, simply happy, simply home. Ben had been saved by $3 worth of coffee. Emily had been saved by someone seeing her worth. Ella had been saved by 2 adults choosing love over logic. And all of it started because one struggling mother decided that someone else's need mattered more than her own comfort. 1 cup of coffee, 1 moment of kindness, 1 choice that changed 3 lives forever. Sometimes the smallest gestures create the biggest miracles. Sometimes giving everything when you have nothing opens doors you never knew existed. Sometimes love begins with something as simple as, I'll pay for that. Kindness isn't measured by what it costs. It's measured by what it means. One small act can change everything. If this story touched you, subscribe to HA Stories and share your own moment when kindness changed your life.